I'm Dr. Jess, and this is No Pain is Gain. And on today's show, we will be talking to you about dynamic stretching versus static stretching. What are the pros? Are there any cons? Is one better? Is one worse? When do you do them? So I'm excited to jump in and start talking about both of these types of stretching.
The old adage is wrong. Pain is not a reward for hard work, nor is it an unavoidable consequence of aging. Let Dr. Jess and Dr. Matt be your guides on the path to a fuller life with less pain on No Pain is Gain.
So, what is dynamic stretching? Dynamic stretching is just stretching with movement, and it has been shown to be very helpful to warm up your tissues, such as your muscles, your tendons, your ligaments, your nerves, before an activity, whether it's just practice or a sport or a competition or even working out in the gym, more so than static stretching. Which is the very common one where you do the stretch and the hold. With dynamic stretching, it really prepares the tissues for that activity. It brings blood flow and it really helps prevent injury as well. So we tend to see that dynamic stretching is beneficial, prior to an activity, whereas the static stretching, the stretch and the hold, is better for after activity. Okay, these ones are called knee hugs, and this is a great way to actively warm up your glutes and your hamstrings. Okay, so this is the knee hug, great for stretching the glute and the hamstring or getting them ready for that dynamic movement. Most of these dynamic stretches that I will be showing you, dosage, duration, pretty much the same for all of them. I always say pick 10 yards, and you can go back and forth once, twice, to really get them warmed up. Okay, these ones are called quad pulls. Okay, these are the quad pulls. And these ones are great for your quads and warming up your hip flexors. So these ones are called Frankensteins. That's an actual common one that you might actually have seen other people doing. It's great for your hamstrings. Great hamstring, active warm up, get the blood flow to the area that is needed to prep for the specific activity that you're warming up for. Okay, so this is the Frankenstein. Dosage, duration, I always like to say if you're on a field, about a 10-yard line, you can go back and forth twice. The next one I'm gonna show you is called the dynamic side lunge. Great to warm up the groin. Another common injury we see in the sporting events. So great way to get the blood flow to these areas is by doing the dynamic lunge. The dynamic side lunge for the groin area. Another favorite dynamic stretch I love doing is for your hip rotation. It's a dynamic hip rotation stretch. There's no fancy or fun name for this one. But again, many sports and activities require a plant and a turn, which is a lot of rotation in your hips. So to warm that one up, I love doing is this. Whoop, it's good for balance too. So to get that warmed up and ready to go and perform for your sport or your activity, I love these ones. The next one I'm going to show you is the walking lunge with rotation. Great for upper body stretching along with the legs. So it's a combined movement. This dynamic stretch is the lunge with rotation, great for upper body stretching in combination with some of the hip stretching. A lot of that you might be thinking football, soccer, but what about our baseball players, our softball players, our volleyball players, everyone that requires maybe an upper body warm up, right? So nothing fancy, but I love adding these rotational movements for the shoulder to warm up the rotator cuff. You could do palm up in really big circles, forward, and then backward. And then same thing, you could do palms down and then do big circles, forward and backward. And then again, the little circles are great. Nothing fancy, nothing crazy, but great for rotation, warm up, rotator cuff, big, the muscles and things that you hear from injury that could happen in those sports. Okay, so static stretching is the common stretching I believe many people are aware of, or it's known to, do the hold for 30 seconds, and it's really for lengthening of that tissue. And static stretching has been shown to be better for actually post-activity than it is for a warm-up to get the muscles and the tissues ready for an event. So static stretching, again, great for post-warm-up or post-activity and to help lengthen a tissue. Okay, so there are a variety of ways to stretch your hamstrings. One way that I love to do is just seated on the ground, leg out straight, toe towards you, and then you want to reach forward. Biggest thing I would highly recommend is that you're hinging from your hip and not rounding from your back. So make sure you hinge forward, you'll feel the stretch. And again, static means holding, so I always prefer 30 seconds to 45 seconds, 3 times. So the hip flexor is another great muscle to stretch post-workout or post-activity. And how I see several people do this is that lean forward, right? And you'll feel it through here. I'm actually going to advise the best way to stretch your hip flexor is to be in this position, but if you have the ability to tuck your pelvis under, you actually will feel a significant stretch in your hip flexor while supporting your back at the same time. Great hip flexor stretch. I see a lot of people do this, which again, you're not really going to get much of a stretch, maybe actually pull an area that does not need to be pulled. So get into a nice position here. You can tuck under. You can feel a great stretch. If that's too much, you can put both legs down and tuck under, and you might feel a stretch even just in this position. So one of my favorite static stretches for the groin is just a gentle lean this way, and you should feel it right in the inner thigh. Again, always go to the point of stretch, never pass point it. So if you start to feel the stretch here, that's where you want to stop. Hold for your duration of 30 seconds to 45 seconds, repeat 3 times. But yeah, really try to avoid overextending that stretch. You just want to go to the point of where you start to feel it and hold it there. Okay, my other static stretch for the arms, right? Rotator cuff, posterior cuff stretching is just that cross body, hold for 30 seconds, 45, 3 times, right? Feel a stretch through the back of the arm there. Okay, so that is the dynamic and static stretches that I wanted to share with you today on No Pain is Gain. Remember, if you have certain aches and pains, please, it'd be best for you to see your local physical therapist because they will be able to design a program that fits your needs. And there's a variety of ways to do static stretching and dynamic stretching. I just wanted to share with you some of my favorites and some of the most common ones that are out there today.